Today I bring you a somewhat lengthy video. I've actually got to put three things into this one video. Today I went to my LLDS Stage 1 event and decided to take Satellas. So I told myself I was going to take Necros, but then I just sort of decided right at the last minute to take Satellas because I put together a side deck for that I felt was actually really, really solid. I ended up going ninth place, securing my invite, which I haven't gotten yet, which I haven't actually formally received yet because they haven't actually entered the country yet. I'll probably be getting that on Thursday and might end up showing that off with my deck list for Thursday because I've got a couple of fun builds in the works for that. But that's for something. That's something for the future. 6 rounds. I went 4-2, and obviously took Satellarknights. I'll start just by going straight into the list. Then I'll probably do the report after that. And I've also got I should probably have grabbed these before. I got some packs. Somebody else pulled a Ragnar Zero out of their Astro pack and gave it to me, so it's just like okay. But yeah, deck list. So, triple Deneb, triple Altair, 2 Unuk, all shined out. 1 Rigel, 1 Awesome, 1 Vega, as well as 1 Honest. 12 monsters in total for the list. I don't think I actually have to really go through much in terms of reasoning for most of these cards. I mean, if you've been following me for a while, you know I just always run Awesome in every single Satella build that I play. So it's just, and it put in a lot of work as well. Like once again today, I was really content with it. It always does a good job. Rigel I tried out. It wasn't actually too bad. I found myself citing it out a lot. I think that's the main reason I wanted to run it in the first place, is so that I had something really easy to side out for the Honest. Because for my Honesters, I made one side one. I'd sided in against Qliphorts just so I had an extra way to get my monsters over towers. Aside from that, 2 Unuk, I didn't really want to see it too much. I'd much rather have Orota or Deneb or something like that. Altair, midway through the tournament, I kept getting nothing but Altairs, which was really pissing me off, and ended up losing rounds 3 and 4 as a result. And Deneb's Deneb, so yeah. The spells are also pretty much standard. 3 Rotor, of course. Gotta have the Rotors. Then playing the 3 Upstart, which was really helpful. I went and did some testing yesterday. I went to the place that held the locals. They were just having a bit of a meetup and having some fun games and testing and whatnot for today's tournament. I started that day with Necros, and I decided to swap decks with a friend who was playing Satellas, and so I tried out their build. They had Upstart Goblins. I opened with it. I went Upstart into Deneb with 4 back row, and basically just went brutal from there. So I was very well hyped up to give Upstart a go. It did its job pretty well, in all honesty. So I don't see myself cutting that from this build. To Skybridge. Skybridge was not seen a whole lot. I think on the 1 or 2 occasions that I did see it, if my memory serves me correctly, I think I did actually only get this off once, maybe twice. I think there was a couple of other times where I saw it and I either didn't have anything to use it with, and so either bricked or lost. Well, probably the same, probably both of those. Or I just didn't need it and just proceeded to win. And the staple stuff in the form of Soul Charge and Raigeki. They just do what they do. Now for the 18-card trap lineup. A build I was playing the other week was playing 20, so going down is definitely... Like, 20 is a bit too helmet, but 18 is still helmet enough, which is rather insane. So there's triple alpha. Someone actually didn't play alpha at locals today, but I think he was the worst of the Satella players. I think he ended up finishing 33rd. I think I might have actually been the best of the Satella players there, which I suppose is a bit of a bonus. I mean, I still didn't get the top 8 finish, but being the best of the Satellas, I guess it's kind of cool. I'm not 100% sure if that's actually the case. So yeah, Alpha for negation of shit. Call the Haunted, Revival. Finish Chain Effect Negation. Mind Crush for those relevant matchups. Deep Prison, only battle traps I ran. I felt I was a bit weak in the battle traps section. If I was boosting this up to 20 traps, I would definitely be rolling with the 2 Mirror Forces. But I believe my changes, like I had 2 pots in an earlier build. I cut those, and I think I also cut Jar of Avarice. Yeah, I think I had Jar of Avarice. And put the upstarts in. I think I also was struggling to determine whether or not I wanted Rigel or Jar of Avarice. I think Rigel actually put in enough work for it to be justified as a choice in the deck. But I was still a bit weird about that. One of Compulse, Torrential, Bottomless, Warning, Vanities. They put in the work they're supposed to, so... And if people get around them, then people get around them. Even though they're really not kind of not supposed to, but yeah. It is what it is. The trap lineup. Okay, everything's all straight. And right side up. Extra deck played the 1 diamond. Didn't need the second in the slightest. I actually... One of the decks I played, I could have made diamond to just stop him, but I already had the Shadow Mirror, so I actually didn't feel that it was necessary. The only thing that this would have been good against in that matchup, round 6 Blackwings, was our Qliphort. But aside from that, I believe I summoned it once and it got Regeki'd, and I think I summoned it another one. Like I had a I'd been Regeki'd early, and then I managed to make this and basically just seal the game from there. So it put in a lot of work. Didn't really feel the need for the second one. 2 Deltaros. I don't actually really feel like I'm going to make 2 Deltaros. I think the only reason I have the second one in there is so that I can attach it to Ptolemaeus. But even then, I don't really go Ptolemaeus. Like I don't really go Ptolemaeus early on in the game. If I'm going to make diamond, I usually go with the Triber. Speaking of which, 2 of those. So in all honesty, Potato Knight could well see itself being cut. If I decided I wanted to give Play It as a go, then obviously Ptolemaeus would have to remain in. The only question is what out of the rank 4 engine would be cut. It might well actually be the Deltaros, but the problem is then if I then have pretty much the core Stellar Knight exceeds, I don't really want to attach another one to Ptolemaeus, and I don't really want to attach Diamond to it. So that's a bit of a dilemma. Constellar Omega, this put in a lot of work. I was very, very happy with this. Really just, not even so much just protection. I mean, it did provide some kind of, it didn't actually use its protection that much. It was used more of a beat stick sort of thing. So in all honesty, like, I could well have even just cut this for Ragnar Zero, because there was at least one 5-fist player. I didn't get to go up against him, but it would have been good to have the Ragnar Zero for that matchup. But for the most part, Omega did its job really well. 101, I think I saw this once. Tsukiyomi, put this back in. I had a bit of a hot-cold relationship with this over the course of the tournament. A couple of times I had Tsukiyomi on board, which prevented me from going for 5 material Ronnie McDougall. But it was actually kind enough to give me really good draws to make up for it whenever that actually did happen. And against Qliphort's round 3, I actually went Ronnie McDougall with 4 materials, and that was enough to seal the game off. Speaking of Ronnie McDougall, he exists. I believe I didn't get him out at all with 5 materials. I believe I got him out maybe once. I got him out at least once, possibly twice. My memory's still a bit fuzzy about that, but I'm pretty sure I got it out twice. Both with 4 materials, of course. Then stuff like Exciton. Don't think I actually saw Exciton today. No, I didn't. Emerald, I saw, I think, once. Dweller never happened. I didn't actually need it. The only relevant matchups were the first 2 rounds, and I basically just rolled straight over the top of those 2 matchups, with the exception of game 2, round 2. So this thing was really not even necessary. Castell, blowing shit away, Cowboy for game. What's that? That's diamond. Okay. Now for the side deck. The only monster I sided was the second honest. This was for the Qliphort matchup and against any other decks that may have had big beat sticks. I just wanted to be able to get over them with relative ease. Defusion was for the Shadow matchup, which I had round 2. Very brutal, very clutch play. Ended up winning me the round in time. by knocking over a Shek, and then I basically went Deltaros and just went Smash. 3 MSTs for various stuff, primarily just to get over light mirrors. Most people would side light mirrors, since Satellas, I'm pretty sure, were the most popular deck. Like, if you take the casual players out and stick with just exclusively those that played meta, I'm pretty sure Satellas were the most popular, second being Qliphorts, and yet Qliphorts actually won the whole damn thing. I think there was actually maybe 3 or 4 Cosmo there. I think there's at least 3 Cosmo there, so Cosmo definitely had a bit of a turnout. Speaking of which, Souldrain's good for Cosmo. Didn't get the Cosmo matchup. So all I used this for was against Yang Zing. This would have been good against Shadows, but I had enough to side in already that I didn't really want the one of Soul Drain. I believe I sided this in against BA as well. Now for the tech side, the spicy tech side, Retort. I'm not entirely sure if I've had a list that's shown this before. Just in case there hasn't been. Retort's effect reads, when your opponent activates a spell or trap with the same name as one in your graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do destroy that card, then you can add 1 card with that name from your graveyard to your hand. This was intended for the mirror match. I did not get a single mirror match. Thus, this did not actually go into the side deck. If I play this on next Sunday, which I think is just a standard local, I will definitely keep these in here. Because, like, in theory, it's basically really, really clutch when you can just, when you have 2 additional outs to your opponent's alpha that make them go even more minus, when you can just replace this with your own counter trap. So you basically just screw your opponent out of an out, and then you get your own out to pretty much anything else that they can do. So as it says, it's also good for spells. So in mirror match again, you can go turn 1 rotor, and if you open with this, you can set that, and then if they try to go to rotor, you just retort it. You get your rotor back, and you get even further searches. It'll make Tribal a lot easier if you've only opened Deneb. If you opened the Deneb before back, or including retort, they're just going to get shafted if they try to rotor, because then you've got Vega pretty much, because you'll get Altair off the Deneb, then you'll get Vega, and then there's your Tribal right there, provided they don't have their own back row to stop it. I'm playing 3 Shadow Mirrors, aren't I? Yes, 3 Shadow Mirrors. Shadow Mirrors went in against Blackwings round 6, BA round 1, and Shadows round 2. I don't believe I sided this in against any other matchup. Yeah, my memory. I actually know what I went up against with each and every round this time around, because most of them were basically meta. But yeah, those are the 3 rounds that went in on. Blackwings was the only one that was completely unnecessary against. I believe I didn't even see it against BA. Or did I? No, I saw it against BA, game 2. Then Iron Wall, primarily for Cosmo and Infernoids. It got its use playing against Ritual Beasts round 5. So, very well justified side. Anyway, I was quite happy I didn't have to deal with Infernoids, because I hate having to fight them. And that is about it for the deck list. Now, I think while I'm going through my rounds, I'll just crack these packs open. On the menu today, we have an Astral Pack, 3 Clash of Rebellions, and a Dragons of Legend 2. We're going to get the Dragons of Legend 2 out of the way, because it's probably the least interesting. And I have pulled a Fang of Critias. Can we actually say that? Hang on. Jeez, hang on a sec. Okay, I think we're good. Just need to set the lighting. Yeah, Fang of Critias. No one was interested. That is boring. I would have loved to have pulled, I don't know, maybe Mirror Force Dragon, Demise the Knight of Destiny, something along those lines. Might as well move on to the Astral Pack. I was gonna go through my rounds while I was doing this, but I think I'm a bit too preoccupied. I think that's my 3rd Dragon Ravine? I think that is my 3rd Secret Dragon Ravine. And 1 of each of the Imprisoning Mirrors. So overall, solid Astral Pack. Now for the Clash. I'm gunning for Red Eye stuff. If I pull a Farm Girl though, hooray. I will probably have decent trade bait. If I do, I may actually have to go and grab a Good Witch. Hello. The first, like, the back like 4 or 5 cards were upside down. Okay, so I think what I actually will do is I'll put the light there, provided it stays put. Okay, that works. Provided there's no, there's no glare. Okay, cool. So rip in Crystal Rose and Void Imagination. Fucking, that's going straight in the trade binder. Like, I don't want. We're not going to talk about that. We are seriously not going to talk about that. Okay. That's a bit better. Okay, Ramajar. He's looking a bit faded, but whatever. Well, we've at least got a foil. Absorb Fusion. Okay. Again, we're not going to talk about that because that's kind of a crummy ultra. I mean, if you're playing Gem Knights, then whatever. Alright, chicken game. Suppose I could put that in the trade binder. But yeah, 2 packs out of 3, and we have foils. Someone starts singing Weird Al Yankovic foil. Okay, here we go. We're probably not going to get a foil out of this one, unfortunately. So, Romage, Bergamot. Nope, just nothing but a Roma. Okay, those pulls were crummy, to say the least. But at least I have something resembling trade bait. I actually do still have relatively decent trade baits, just people are not really interested in them. Oh well, it is what it is. Anyways, to actually go through the full tournament report, while I put my 9 there to show I finished 9th. Yeah, I don't know. Round 1 I played BA. Game 1 was literally Brick War. I managed to get out of my brick first. I actually had back row, so for the most part, yes, I bricked because I didn't get any monsters, but I eventually did top the rotor. I actually had to use the rotor the following turn because I didn't have the space on my back row to use it the turn I drew it. But once I did that, I just started rolling straight over the top of him. Game 2 was a lot more grindy. I opened up by double deprisoning a board of double Dante, so I only had the one Dante to worry about. I got that out of the way with by getting rid of his, like, he made it into a downed, and I got rid of that way. He then skill drained me and also had an acid golem which I had to deal with. I eventually got over the skill drain, but not before I finished chaining the acid golem in order to prevent myself from taking damage. I eventually compulsed it and then proceeded to basically just put a board on, to just put up a board and then win. So that was 2-0 in time, I think it was as well. And so round 2, played against Shadows. Now, game 1, I can't remember exactly how it went. It was pretty quick. I ended up winning. I think I got Raigeki'd, and then I made Diamond, and then basically just rolled over. Game 2, bricked. I think I saw Altair, and that was it for monsters, so I lost that one pretty hard. Game 3 was very, very back and forth. Both of us basically had to channel up our use of resources and basically just not get ourselves screwed over. Eventually, I managed to get a bluff sort of back row going. I had my Soul Charge set, which was useless. I was at 400. He top decked BLS. I locked it up in a Fiendish, I think it was. Yeah, locked it up in a Fiendish. He then put Shekinah on board, also made Glot Bulb for a defense. Didn't actually run Star Reader, so couldn't put the Star Reader on board. From there, I basically end phase defusioned the Shrek, made Deltaros, blew up the BLS, and then basically ran over and attacked the game using Regil. So it was quite useful, that Regil. He stayed in there just because I didn't have any reason to cut him from that side. So that was good. Round 3, played against Qliphorts. Game 1 was one of the very rare occurrences where I actually didn't brick. Made a 4 material Ronnie with support from Tsukiyomi, and basically just pushed straight over. And the one turn that he had where he couldn't summon was pretty much kryptonite to him. Game 2 and 3 I bricked because I swear to God, whenever I play against Qliphorts, I am just cursed and just never can actually open a good hand, regardless of what Qliphort player I play, by the way. So I ended up losing both of those games really badly. And then round 4 I played against Zing. Zing, a really annoying deck to deal with. I had to think like really, really hard on this one, but I still ended up. I actually did do some pretty grievous misplays, just forgetting that Swanee gives boosts and other various stuff. Had my warning baited out. Although he did actually misplay on that because I warning went down to 2,500. All he had to do from there was make Trish or Mistworm and then he'd win, but he went for the beat stick. So I was left with a few life points left and I was able to deprison one of his other monsters. But he eventually ended up running over the top of me anyway. I ran out of traps to use against him. So that was game 1. Game 2, then I think it was basically just a misplay that cost me the entire match. He eventually just put Bucks here on board, swept my monsters off board, and then swung for game, which was rather unfortunate. Round 5, played against what was it? Ritual Beast. That was round 5. I believe he actually kind of bricked game 1 because I think the whole idea is to do the silly combos, and he didn't actually pull off the silly combos. I just managed to get monsters on board, grind his resources out, and then basically just push over him for game. Game 2, he opened macro, which was kind of bad, but I managed to get an early MST in there. Had to deal with a couple more banishing things like a deep prison or two before I eventually got my Iron Wall online, and that Iron Wall then stayed online for the rest of the game. He couldn't see his MSTs, and I also had Vanities to prevent him from just getting stuff on board to block attacks. So eventually he kept wearing me out of resources with our steeds, but eventually I ended up getting the Core of the Haunted, putting something on board, and then just attacking with that and taking the game. Finally, round 6 was kind of anticlimactic. I needed a win to get the top 16 finish, and I played against Blackwings, 2-0'd them without really much effort. I was a bit concerned about the back row that they could have been running. Evidently, it was not really that big of a threat. I think it was just primarily battle traps, nothing in the way of Kaloots at all, or Icarus attacks. So that was a good thing to have. I think he synchroed, I believe, twice. He made a Armor Master, which I promptly warninged, and I think he also made Stardust, which I compulsed, and then pretty basically from there I just kept pushing, and basically just went trying the beats to really grind him straight out of his resources, and then that was it. My back row was just going to overrun him if he'd even managed to survive. But that is it, and that is my 4-2 record with the 9th place finish. And so I shall now finish the video the same way that I started it, with my deck just sort of occupying the centerpiece of the camera. I don't even know what the hell I'm on about. But yeah, let's just put Ragnar Zero in there because Ragnar Zero is awesome. That's the one thing I will actually thank DevPro for, is I actually realized how awesome Ragnar Zero was. But that is about it. I'm probably not going to do another video until maybe... Jeez. Probably do something for Thursday if I put together the fun deck and it does relatively well. But until then, bye.